Today, also the first day of early voting. That's right. No, seriously, early voting is going on right now. We've got a story up at KFYO.com for you. You can check out sample ballots at votelubbock.org. And joining us on the phones right now, just one of the candidates joining us on the program. We've got Judge Kara Darnell, who is a candidate in the Republican primary runoff for the 99th District Court. Judge Darnell, welcome back to the show. How are you today?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
Doing great. Appreciate you joining us here on the program. I guess let's give everybody a refresher as attention has probably been elsewhere instead of a runoff campaign. Give folks a little bit of a refresher on you, who you are, and why you're running for the 99th District Court.
You bet. My name is Kara Darnell, and I am running for the 99th District Court. That is the civil and family court that is up for election at this time. It's Judge Souter's seat right now. He is retiring and not running again, so that is the position that I'm running for. I am running for that position because a lot of folks asked me to. When the seat opened up, I had several judges, several attorney friends come to me and say, Kara, you are ready for this. You have been doing cases as a judge in child protection court for a long time now, and you have done a really good job with those CPS cases. We love the way you run your court. We love the way you move cases, and we love how you give people a fair day in court, and you listen, and you pay attention to the facts, you pay attention to the law, you do what you're supposed to do, and you're ready for district courts. We'd like you to consider this. And that is really why I'm running. I feel like I have the experience now that we need in this court. 7 years on the bench, making really, really difficult custody decisions in these family law cases, I think has really prepared me. My years of experience in civil court before that, in private practice trying civil cases for over a decade, has prepared me for the civil part of this court. So I think I have all of the bases covered to do a great job in this court.
What type of cases does the 99th District Court hear typically?
Sure. Your regular civil litigation cases, contract cases, car wreck cases, personal injury, those sorts of civil cases. And then you also have the family law, your divorces, your child custody, your modifications, those sorts of things.
And so, from what you were saying, as far as experience goes, because when people look at who to choose, they're going to, a lot of times they go off a resume, and so for your resume to translate over into the district court, that really does come into play with custody suits and children, correct?
Yes, sir. That's certainly a big part of the court. Are those really tough family law decisions? And like I said, I've been making those decisions every week for the last 7 years. So certainly think that I have the experience we need for that part of it, but also the civil cases. I don't want folks to ignore that part of my resume. Mm-hmm. Did a lot of civil cases in my private practice work before I took the bench. But I think really what sets me apart is my judicial experience and being on the bench every week, listening to testimony, making rulings on evidence, making those really, really tough decisions, I think is what really sets me apart from my opponent in this race.
Of course, the early voting time period has begun, goes all the way until July 10th. Election day is on July 14th. What have you been doing? I brought this up earlier. Not a lot of people have probably been paying attention to runoff races here in Lubbock with coronavirus in the news and everything else. What have you been doing to try and rally support and remind people that there is indeed an election still?
You bet. Well, I did the same thing that I did in February, in January, and probably a little bit more of it, actually. Trying to get folks to pay attention to this race. I have walked many, many blocks in the last month. I've rung over 1,000 doorbells, and literally just talking to people, just getting out, beating the streets, and talking to people, meeting people. I have made thousands of phone calls, literally. So, and that's really been the most fun part of this whole race for me, and that's true for January and February too, is just meeting people in Lubbock, trying to get folks to understand who I am and what I'm about, and just trying to help people understand how important it is to pick good judges for these races. And that's what I've been doing. I've just been working to make sure that the folks who voted for me the first time get back out and vote again for me in the second race. I think if I do that, I have a pretty good day and a pretty good shot at this. I got the most votes the first go-around. I now have the third place vote getter, Mark McBrayer. He is endorsing me, so I'm hoping to get a lot of his votes. So I'm just trying to remind my voters to vote again and trying to get Mark's voters to vote for me this time. And I think if I'm able to do that, we're in good shape.
Yeah, and it's interesting to me. You are one of very few candidates who is talking about that you got out and blocked walk, and talked to voters during the process. Because I hear from a lot of folks, here and statewide, that a lot of voters are hesitant about going to the doors. I mean, what did you find that was true? I mean, it sounds like you had some luck talking to people.
I did have a lot of luck. The response I got was pretty much the same as I got in January and February in terms of the number of people who came to the door and talked to me.
Okay.
I tried to be extremely careful about it. I wore a mask. I wore a different mask every time I went out to walk. I wore gloves. When I ring that doorbell, I step back 10 or 15 feet from the door, so I'll make sure people don't feel uncomfortable when they see me at the door. There's enough space there. And I just kind of judge the reaction of the person opening the door of how I take the conversation from there.
Right.
And the response I got was fantastic. I mean, people were wanting to talk. People were interested in the election. I think, frankly, it was nice for them to be able to talk and hear about something other than COVID-19.
You are probably right.
It was a fantastic response, I think, and I think the response I got was very encouraging, very uplifting. Folks that were planning to vote for me again, they had voted for me before, and were telling me that they were going to do so again, and happy for the reminder about the election coming up. So I'm very pleased with what I heard, both block walking and phone calling.
Very good. Tell folks where they can find out more information about your campaign.
You bet. I have a website, JudgeKaraDarnell.com. You can also just call me. There's a phone number on there, and I have returned every phone call, every message that's been left for me on that phone number, and I'm happy to visit with you. I'm happy to talk all day to try to earn your vote. So JudgeKaraDarnell.com, K-A-R-A, Darnell, DARNELL.com. There's a lot of information about me. My Facebook page also. I have a Facebook page. But if you have any questions, I love talking to people. Just give me a call on that phone number.
All right, Judge Kara Darnell, we appreciate your time. Thank you, as always, for calling us, and we'll visit again soon.
Okay, I appreciate the interview.
Absolutely.
Have a good day.
Thank you. That's Judge Kara Darnell running in the 99th District Court runoff race on the Republican ballot. You can go and vote today, early voting now through July 10th, Election Day on the 14th.